19 feet, or flood stage is at 21, we're at 19.
How to safely build a fire and how to control the flames. But I can.
7 expected to crest at 40 feet. Then we go over towards the Williamsburg area. This is the Cumberland River. Flood stage is at 21 feet. Latest observations at 23.06 feet. We're going to go to 32 feet, which is right at that major flood stage. 35 feet is the record on this one. And then we'll move over towards the Williamsburg area again. We'll see those river levels going up to about 25 to 30 feet. So a lot going on. And again, we're going to be in for the next several hours, keeping you guys up to date. Amelia.
Thank you so much, Eric. And we went to get to some news coverage now for you about the flooding that many of you have seen throughout the mountains today. We have reporters who were out and are out in various parts of eastern Kentucky providing team coverage. But first, let's take a look at the power outage map. Actually, we're going to take a look with team coverage in Laurel County. WYMT's Caroline Mueller is live near London, where some roads have become impassable. Caroline, tell us what's going on right now.
Right, Amelia, I'm here at Levi Jackson Wilderness Park, where this normally small creek has completely overflowed. Here, take a look behind me. I'm actually going to step out of the frame so you can see just how high that water has risen. I spoke to some folks driving through the area and city officials on their response. Heavy rainfall has pushed water levels up in Laurel County, leaving some parks and roadways almost completely submerged.
It's pretty amazing because, like I said, I've never seen it this high.
Derek Combs says this area is usually completely walkable, but now it's unrecognizable.
Well, usually it's probably 60 foot back from the road. It's like more of a little creek stream, but it all looks like, you know, it doesn't even look like a stream now. There's walking tracks, multiple walking tracks you can walk, bring your family out, and but you can't see any of those today.
London Mayor Randall Weddle says the city has been monitoring the situation closely, making sure pumps are operational and keeping roads closed where needed.
We've been checking the infrastructure, watching the bridges, culverts and stuff like that going over the roadways for erosion. And with this amount of water, that is one of our biggest concerns right now.
Weddle is urging folks to stay home, but if you must be on the roads, he says you should never drive through high water.
That's the biggest thing we're dealing with right now, vehicles getting stuck in water. So the rescue squad has been frantic for the last several hours.
He says this should not be taken lightly and is warning folks in low-lying areas to evacuate if necessary.
So we're asking people to be vigilant, be smart, and don't think that it couldn't happen to you.
Once the storms pass, the city will work with state and federal agencies to assess damage and provide assistance to those impacted.
We'll just continue to work with those agencies to make sure that the citizens here in London are taken care of.
Officials say they will continue monitoring water levels and road conditions, and once again, they urge you to only travel if absolutely necessary, stay home, and if you are in those floodplain areas, now's the time to get to higher ground. Live in Laurel County, I'm Caroline Mueller, WYMT Mountain News.
Caroline, thank you so much. Stay safe out there. And London wasn't the only place in the Cumberland Valley to see flooding today. We have some photos out of Corbin. The images that you'll see are from Master Street. They're right there. You can even see at one point that a truck was turned over on its side. This is just some real-time footage of where the water is in those roadways. So much to the point where folks should turn around and not try to brave going through those standing water areas. And now we'll take you to some images from a viewer in the Bledsoe community of Harlan County. The water causing problems in that area. Much of eastern Kentucky being impacted by heavy rainfall and flooding. There are high water levels in the Buckhorn area as well. That's specifically in places near the Kentucky River. Jason Eversole is the assistant chief of the Buckhorn Fire Department. He says folks in the area are on high alert during the flooding today. He says this is largely because of the impacts from the July 2022 flood, which just devastated parts of Buckhorn, especially in areas near the river.
The 2022 is same area, but we hope that this is not like 2022 flood, because I was one of the recipients of losing their home in 2022, and this brings back some memories.
Eversole says if you are in low-lying areas that are prone to flooding, you should watch those water levels nearby and keep track if it is rising. He also says to have an access point to get away from the water if it does start rising and to keep track of your surroundings. Residents in the area are taking those words to heart. Folks living near the Kentucky River are watching the water levels as they rise. Some folks told me the water levels are worse at creek runoff areas. Eddie Griffith has a mobile home. He's been watching the water levels all day long, and he says this water near his home has been collecting different kinds of debris, and he's spent his day digging that debris out so it doesn't go into his home.
I'm just trying to clean this ditch. A couple days ago it stopped up and was running over in the yard, and I was just trying to keep the water out of my yard and help, do what I can.
People were driving their cars through roads with very high water. You can see right there, not heeding the warning, turn around, don't drown. You don't know how deep that water is and if it could wash away your vehicle. So again, it is advised to turn around and not drive through standing water. The Hindman and Knott County community has also taken a hit from the flooding. Just a quarter mile away from Main Street, water from Troublesome Creek has reached people's yards and houses. Right when you get to Hindman Bypass, water has flooded both sides of the bridge, causing people to take alternate routes. Many people in Hindman are looking for higher ground, and Brandy, a Knott County resident, has provided information on where people can go if they are currently looking for shelter.
I have seen that Jeff Dawson has been giving precautions. He gave precautions before, just letting everybody know to be ready about the flooding, and then you can always go to the sportsplex up here, and then you can go there if you need shelter.
We're more or less just watching the weather and just to see what's rolling in, and if we have to go outside and make any safety precautions out there.
Road conditions are affected up and down Highway 15 and Highway 80. Going south on 15 towards Fleming Neon, first responders were turning people around earlier today. A crash was also spotted on 15 heading that same direction. On Highway 80 headed towards Knott County, traffic was stopped as emergency crews responded to a possible mudslide. As a reminder, be sure not to drive through still water, and if you do drive during these conditions, be sure to drive slow and be safe. Coming up on Mountain News, we take a look at how flooding is impacting folks out in the Big Sandy area.
Plus, the WYMT First Alert Weather Team will have another check of tonight's weather.